Welcome to Loyola Marymount University. The mace that K.J. Peters, Faculty Senate Vice President and Associate Professor of English, is bearing to the stage is in keeping with a tradition dating to the earliest universities of the Middle Ages. Our university mace is present during important academic ceremonies to remind us of the unique history of our university. Two faces of the mace depict the university seal. The papal seal on the third face symbolizes our Catholic heritage, and the fourth includes the American shield of stars and stripes. In this way, the mace is more than an object. By its presence here today, it connects us to our past and links us to the global academic community. At the close of the ceremony, Professor Peters will lead the recessional, signifying the end of commencement. Will the class of 2019 please come forward?
Good morning. Please be seated. I am Thomas Poon, Executive Vice President and Provost. On behalf of the university community, especially our new graduates, welcome to Loyola Marymount University. I also welcome those who could not be with us today, but who are watching via our webcast. As you celebrate your students' achievements this morning, please remember that President Snyder confers the degrees at the end of the ceremony, and each student is still a student and not yet a graduate until then. Please remain in your seats until all names are read and President Snyder confers the degrees near the end of our ceremony. Please stand for the invocation and the singing of the national anthem. Shake Kuyumjian, Assistant Vice Provost of Graduate Studies, will deliver the invocation.
As we celebrate your achievements today, especially on this beautiful Mother's Day, let's not forget to recognize all those who made it possible for you to be here. Your parents, spouses, friends, and all your loved ones. While students at LMU, I'm sure you are inspired from the combined heritage of the Jesuits, the Marymount Sisters, and the Sisters of St. Joseph, and you learn to put to good use their motto of being men and women for others. With your degree comes the moral obligation to not forget those who have been less fortunate. The mission to help them is now entrusted to you. As you know, we live in a broken world full of discrimination and injustice, and the responsibility to change it lies on your shoulders, on our shoulders. It's important to pursue goals for your own success, but also extend a hand to those who live in the margins of society. You should have the courage to face the injustice, show compassion, and give a voice to the voiceless in order to be worthy of the privileges you've been given. And in doing so, you will remain truthful to God. One of the quotes I appreciate most, and that would be fitting to share with you here. The moral test of a society is how that society treats those who are in the dawn of life, those who are in the twilight of life, and those who are in the shadows of life. I hope you will do all you can to make a difference in the lives of those people. Let's aim for a world of equality, dignity, and justice. God bless you. Amen.
Thank you, Assistant Vice Provost Kuyumjian. Ladies and gentlemen, Shake Kuyumjian will soon be retiring after 30 years of service to LMU. Please join me in thanking her for all she has done for our students and our university. Please join with Zachary Birdsall, a music major at LMU, for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. As we begin the formal proceedings, I acknowledge the parents, mothers, happy Mother's Day, families and spouses, as well as our faculty for all that they have contributed to our graduates. I ask the class of 2019 to give them a round of applause. I am pleased to present to you Timothy Law Snyder, President of the University.
Thank you, kind sir. Appreciate it. Executive Vice President and Provost Poon, Executive Vice President and Chief Administrator Officer Scarborough, Chair Viviano, members of the LMU Board of Trustees, members of the LMU Board of Regents, members of the faculty, student development professionals, administrators, and staff of LMU, GS LMU President Nicole Mann, our friend and chair of the Board of Regents, Maria Salinas, siblings, children, friends of the class of 2019, parents of the class of 2019, mothers of the class of 2019. Happy Mother's Day! Tíos y abuelos de la clase de 2019, and members of the class of 2019, welcome to the 107th commencement exercises of Loyola Marymount University. Today is a glorious day. We honor your academic accomplishments, your intellectual pursuits, and enduring commitment to doing more, to giving more to the world around you. We celebrate you for exemplifying the heart and soul of our LMU tradition in all you do. Thank you, graduate class of 2019. At LMU, you have gained knowledge from your responsibilities in and out of the classroom, the library, the studios, on and off the yoga mat, upside down and right side up, from your service, from your mindfulness, from your creativity, and from your persistence. You have encountered views different from your own. You have sought with vigor the truth, and through discernment, you have deepened the quality of perception, honing your expertise, all the while learning valuable lessons about yourself and our world in the process. You have indeed become leaders. We speak often about forming leaders at LMU, and while I have no doubt that we have a few CEOs, politicians, maybe a POTUS, or maybe two out here in our midst, the leadership your LMU education has cultivated is about much more than simply rising to the top of something. The leadership toward which we teach and mentor is purposeful. It is about possessing a clarity of mind that inspires others and self to do everything well and to be learning at all moments with the ultimate goal of serving others. This purposeful, lifelong learning is fundamental to our Jesuit and Marymount University mission, and it will carry you forward every step of your continuing journey. So as you lead and inspire, create and disrupt, build and bend, seek inner peace and work for the greater good, you will be our ambassadors and we will be yours as we seek to create the world we want to live in. I have faith and hope in our human future, knowing that our graduate class of 2019 is at the helm as our LMU Lion champions. Congratulations, class of 2019. Enjoy this beautiful day.
In April, at the faculty recognition ceremony, the full-time faculty recipients of the President's Fritz B. Burns Distinguished Teaching Award, the Raines Award for Excellence in Service, the Raines Award for Excellence in Scholarship and Creative Works, and the LMU Award for Excellence in Extramural Funding were announced. Please refer to the commencement program for more information about the award recipients. Their achievements are extraordinary, and we are honored with their presence this morning. Each year, the university bestows honorary degrees on persons who symbolize, in an outstanding manner, a record of scholarship or service that contributes to the public good. In honoring these persons, the university recognizes their significant contributions to the world in which we live. Paul Viviano, Chair of the Board of Trustees, will introduce our honorary degree recipient and commencement speaker.
Maria Salinas is the president and CEO of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, the largest business association in Los Angeles County, representing more than 1,600 companies and serving the interests of more than 235,000 businesses across Los Angeles. When she took the helm of the organization in August of 2018, Ms. Salinas became the first woman and Latina to lead the chamber in its 130-year history. An accomplished businesswoman, entrepreneur, and a stalwart community leader. Ms. Salinas is a pillar of our Southern California community. Under her leadership, the Chamber has focused on key strategic initiatives, including expanding its advocacy for a business environment, promoting the spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship throughout the region, and expanding global influence. Mayor Garcetti appointed Ms. Salinas to the Mex-LA Commission, a foreign policy initiative between Mexico and Los Angeles. She also serves on the board of directors of Pacific Council, Southern California Leadership Network, Unite Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation, Los Angeles County Business Federation, and the Los Angeles Sports Council. Ms. Salinas earned a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from LMU in 1987. She and her husband, Raul, were founders of the Latino Alumni Association, formerly the Mexican American Alumni Association, and served on its board. In 2014, they created the Salinas Family Scholarship in partnership with LMU LAA. Maria Salinas is currently chair of LMU's Board of Regents and a member of LMU's Board of Trustees. Over the years, she has served numerous esteemed civic and nonprofit organizations and has been recognized for her bold leadership and impactful community service. For her remarkable achievements, Loyola Marymount University is proud to bestow on Maria Salinas the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the state of California and by the trustees of Loyola Marymount University, I now confer on you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. Congratulations, Dr. Salinas.
Graduates, families, and friends, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our commencement speaker, Dr. Maria Salinas.
Thank you, Chair Viviano, President Snyder, Provost Poon, Executive Vice President, President Scarborough, trustees, regents, faculty, administrators, staff, families, and of course the mothers on this very special day, and the graduate class of 2019. What an honor it is to be speaking to such a distinguished class at my alma mater. Though I graduated in 1987, my heart never left the Bluff. And being here today on this momentous occasion, I am reminded of the many memories, the precious memories of my time here at LMU. 1987 was the height of many things. For me, as I prepared to graduate, I recall the late nights in the library and the balance of preparing for finals and those mandatory socials that were on campus, heading to the library, heading to Hannon Loft or the Bird's Nest. Really key decisions that I made in those last few moments here on campus. I lamented that I was about to leave my friends, professors, staff, and the comfort of LMU. But it was my first day on this campus that really stands out in my mind. As I came down Alumni Mall with my parents to register, we stood at Regent's Terrace, facing Sacred Heart Chapel. I stared in amazement that I, the first in my family to go to college, had made it. I had yet not immersed myself in collegiate life, but in my mind, I had made it. I was on the campus of a university. My parents called it un sueño, a dream. Their immigrant story of hard work and perseverance inspired me to work hard, to get an education, to be kind and giving, and to live a life of purpose and meaning. With those family values, LMU was a perfect fit for me. After leaving LMU, traversing the business world for the last 30-some years, first in accounting, professional services, as a corporate leader, in the boardroom, as an entrepreneur, I have drawn on my inner strength and a little bit of fierceness. More often than not, I've been the only woman and definitely the only Latina in those spaces. Thank you. I recall the challenges I faced, the barriers I overcame, the mistakes I made, and the successes I achieved. And through it all, I've been guided by a value system that blossomed here at LMU. My life has been about living LMU's mission every day. It has been my shield and a guide. It has empowered me to think beyond today, to consider the paths that we still need to forge, and to live with meaning and purpose. My husband, also an LMU grad, Raul Salinas, who I met on this campus, calls this drinking the Jesuit punch. LMU prepared me to break barriers and shatter glass ceilings. Last year, I became the first woman and Latina president and CEO of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce. The first in over 130 years. I represent one of the country's largest chamber organizations with a great legacy of impact, from drawing people to this state in the very early years to supporting infrastructure efforts as the region grew, to more recently tackling issues facing our most vulnerable communities, like economic inequality, homelessness, and immigration reform. I firmly believe, as CBA Dean Dale Smith has said, business is a force for good. My goal is to lead our business community by embracing every aspect of this region with a sense of meaning and purpose, to lead boldly in this creative and innovative economy, to foster a workforce ready to compete globally, and to think critically in addressing the world's most pressing challenges. LA is well positioned to be a global powerhouse in reach and influence. Think about our diversity of people, of industry, music, food, and arts. That's our strength. Think about our proximity to international markets. That's our global reach. And with thought leadership from distinguished academic institutions like LMU that focus on the spirit of innovation, entrepreneurship, and global imagination, you will lead boldly with courage and your own fierceness to create the world you want to live in, as President Snyder has said. If we are to succeed, this means we are ensuring prosperity for all. we understand that we can live a life of meaning and purpose through service and the promotion of justice. You are prepared to take the reins of leadership because you are grounded with a value system to understand right from wrong, and that the meaning and purpose in every decision that you made. And if you just read the current headlines, you know that in this city, in this country, in this world, we need you. We need the compassionate and empathetic leaders that LMU creates. As I led my happy life through the business world that I was in, it was not without the bumps and turns. And no, I'm not referring to my 4 boys, who are not here, 2 of them are not here today, but I know they're streaming it from their college dorms. My sons, Alejandro, Nicholas, Francisco, and Gabriel, join me and have been a big life lesson for me as well. I have learned to not succumb to the illusion that I know my path. The failures often revealed unexpected truths about life. Who has been influential in my life? Well, it's not one person. For me, it's been the experience of my LMU education. Success has not been about material things that I have gained. It's been about leading with my values at the forefront and always in service of others. In 2005, I was a founder of a community bank, the first Latino-owned bank in Los Angeles in over 30 years. The opportunity to serve the small business community was very compelling. That was one of the hardest, but yet most rewarding moments of my career was starting this bank. However, we opened our doors in 2006, and by 2007, we were headed for an economic downturn. Little did we know that the most serious financial crisis the U.S. would experience since the Great Depression was around the corner. We soon found ourselves under heavy scrutiny from bank regulators, not because we had done anything wrong, but we were just not growing. We were a new bank, and the market was heading downward. Our boardroom was the hub of complex analysis and an intensity level that was off the charts. I was asked to lead a special committee to communicate directly with the bank regulators, a task that I first thought would be easy, given my audit and compliance background. I was wrong. The scrutiny of my every word, spoken and written, and the interrogation as to our oversight and governance put me in the hot seat for a good 4 years, 4 excruciating years. At times, it was like there was no light in sight. I'm sure many of you have had moments like that. And in those type of moments of intense pressure, I was guided by my moral compass, working with integrity and transparency, being guided by a strong ethical background, guiding principles that were fostered here at LMU, the same guiding principles that will guide you as well. In the end, the bank weathered the financial crisis, and we came out stronger. My board colleagues credited me with achieving a positive result, and years later, I was appointed chairwoman of the bank. I also received the nod of approval from the bank regulators, who I later found out that there were several LMU alums that were on their team. All this to say that I credit LMU for getting me through those grueling moments. The values I learned from the Jesuit and Marymount traditions have enabled me to see my way through life's many adventures with discernment and flexibility, with integrity and accountability. These values have guided me as they will guide you in those moments when the path seems insurmountable. And one day, maybe even as you prepare for a commencement speech at LMU, you will reflect upon the life you've lived. Has it been meaningful? Have you fulfilled those sueños, the dreams that you hold today? I have no doubt that you will look back at your time at LMU and that for each of you, the answer will be a resounding yes. That you too will find that LMU's mission lives in you, that it's part of your DNA, and that this institution has played an essential role in your life as it has in mine. And in those moments of joy, when we celebrate our accomplishments, when we see the birth of our children, and the passing of our legacy into the hands of the next generation, you will recognize, as I have, that LMU's mission has guided you through all of it. The good, the bad, and the awesome. That your sense of being has made a difference. The Jesuit Marymount traditions have strengthened you. It has fueled your ambition, made you fight for the things that matter, and made you forever part of a community that cares for one another as family. Today, we gather as global citizens, change makers, business leaders, filmmakers, educators, philosophers, yogis, but we, the foremost lions, are guided by our values and emboldened by a fierceness to persist so that we may create the world we want to live in. That's the LMU way, a path that will guide all of us from this day forward. Congratulations and go Lions!
Thank you, Dr. Salinas, for your presence and insightful thoughts this morning. We now award LMU's graduate degrees. President Snyder and Mr. Viviano will greet the new graduates. Candid photographs will be taken of each graduate receiving the diploma cover. I ask the graduates not to congregate on the stage, but to return to your seats and remain seated until all of the candidates of all colleges and schools have been recognized. I also request that our guests remain seated for the duration of the presentation so that all may have a view of the proceedings. Interim Dean Mary McCullough will present the candidates for the degrees from the School of Education.
I am honored to present the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Education. Will the candidates please come forward?
Christopher L. Anderson. Dissertation titled, Baptism by Fire, a case study of the experiences of Chinese international students in an American Catholic secondary school. Dissertation Committee Chair, Jill Bickett, EDD.
Samuel Torres. Dissertation title, Foundational Values and Sustainability, a Historical Inquiry at a Catholic All-Female High School. Dissertation Committee Chair, Jill Bickett, EDD.
Kevin William Smith. Dissertation title, African American Male Perceptions on Public Schooling After Discipline, a contextual portrait from the inner city. Dissertation Committee Chair, Jill Bickett, EDD.
Christian Quintero. Dissertation title, Creating Creators Cinema Project, Transforming Students' Lives Through the Arts. Dissertation Committee Chair, Ernesto Colin, PhD.
Sayeda Zahra A. Sayed Yosef. Dissertation title, Edifying the Spirit of Love and Liberation, Humanizing the Education of Young Children Through Critical Pedagogy and Reggio Emilia. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Tina B. Evans. Dissertation title, We Wear the Mask, Stories of the Black Girl Experience in Predominantly White Elite Independent Schools. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Stephanie Suzanne Goodman. Dissertation title, Talking About Whiteness, the Stories of Novice White Female Educators. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Crystal Huff. Dissertation title, Critical Mentorship for Black Girls, an Autoethnography of Perseverance, Commitment, and Empowerment. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Samuel Benjamin Torres. Dissertation title, Beyond Colonizing Epistemicides Toward a Decolonizing Curriculum for Indigenous Education. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Renee Lozano Esquivel. Dissertation title, Critical Bicultural Masculinities, Reframing Latino Success Among Latino Immigrants. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Ariane J. White. Dissertation title, Transformative Storytelling, an inquiry into school-based restorative justice practitioners' experiences. Dissertation Committee Chair, Antonia Darder, PhD.
Geneva Danae Matthews. Dissertation title, Exploring the Experiences of Black Teachers with School Administrators in Los Angeles County. Dissertation Committee Chair, Fernando Estrada, PhD.
Michael Anthony Castillo. Dissertation title, The Impact of Culturally Responsive School Leadership on the Development of Inclusive Catholic Secondary Schools for Latino Families. Dissertation Committee Chair, Karen Huchting, PhD.
Father Joe DeCash. Dissertation title, Examining the Relationship Between Educational Technology and Morality, a case study of an American Catholic middle school. Dissertation Committee Chair, Karen Huchting, PhD.
Melinda Michelle Love. Dissertation title, Creating Scholar Athletes, Investigating the Academic Support Provided to High School Athletes. Dissertation Committee Chair, Karen Huchting, PhD.
Whitney Lynn McCormick. Dissertation title, Self-Efficacy and STEM Career Interest in Middle School Students, a study on the next generation science standards. Dissertation Committee Chair, Martha McCarthy, PhD.
Elisa Moritz Mastropolito. Dissertation title, Addressing Teacher Shortage, a historical policy study on teacher credentialing in California. Dissertation Committee Chair, Martha McCarthy, PhD.
Fazia Bibi Kwazi. Dissertation title, Perceptions of a High School Inquiry-Based Physics First Curriculum. Dissertation Committee Chair, Philip Molbash, PhD.
Brian Philip Sanders. Dissertation title, Towards a New Learning Theory for Digital Learning Environments. Dissertation Committee Chair, Elizabeth Riley, EDD.
Sarah Dorer. Sarah Dorer. Dissertation title, Impact, Implementation, and Insights of Peace Education, a case study of the MA in Peace Studies and Conflict Transformation Program at the University of Rwanda. Dissertation Committee Chair, Elizabeth Riley, EDD.
Congratulations to our doctoral degree candidates. I am honored to present the candidates for the degree of Education Specialist. Will the candidates please come forward?
Melissa Mabel Espinosa.
Alana Miley Stotts.
Ashley Kele Vahiokala Lani Oshiro.
Haley Lynette Wallen.
Allison Adelina Clark.
Christine Ann Requa.
Ebony Buenrostro.
Hind Musa.
Dana Marie Bennett. Rachel Michaela Seabrook.
Natalie Rose Chichecki.
Megan Katrina Ward.
Sophia Krakowiak.
Catherine Marie Souther.
Debbie Urashalmi.
Jennifer White.
Caitlin Rankin. Natalie Yaren Karagosian. Capricia Singleton.
Congratulations to our Education Specialist candidates. And now, I am honored to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. Will the candidates please come forward?
Eduardo Vertigo.
America Montes de Oca.
Stacy Kimberly Zapata.
Tanika
Alejandro Ramirez.
Adriana Pulley.
Marjorie Giaconda Orellano Hall.
Sierra Don Gomez.
Victoria H. Rodas.
Wen Kim Huynh.
Sandra Martinez Hernandez.
Clayton Kyle Hill.
Jose Miguel Chavez.
Jeremy Lamb.
Cindy Maybelle Contreras Mostajo.
Monique Ashley Dumar.
Jessica Melgar.
Deidre McCullough.
Margarita Piedad Arana.
Dionasia Denise Papas.
Tania A. Arevalo.
Morena Tejeda Fisher.
Violet Canales.
Katie Barine Masterson.
Nancy Lopez.
Lynn Wong.
Sarah Lozano.
Towns Bouchard Ding.
Linda Burning Davis.
Anderson Neil De Andrade.
Nicole Ruth Sella.
Catherine Elizabeth Howard.
Kelly Nicole Egan.
Samantha Dries Kaufman.
Ana C. Galleta.
Claudia Olmedo.
Lindsay Michelle Tomeko.
Gillian Louise Childs.
Morgan Ann Hilby.
Laura Armenta.
Dylan Sarah Fielding.
Jawari Tion Perkins.
Amanda Maxine Greenfield.
Giovanni Valdez.
Ernesto Valenzuela.
Sonia Gurola.
Shema Syed Alam.
Elvia Navas.
Margaret T. Stone.
Rebecca Simone Wareham.
Stephanie Michelle Hueso Lasso.
Maria Victoria Dominguez.
Monique Adrete.
Bliss Moselle Franco.
Pamela Baker.
Jolene Bedoya.
Miguel Francisco Reyna.
Danielle Rao.
Charles Scott Milshaker.
Stacy Christine Slater.
Jessica Jaramillo.
Deanna I. Torres.
Cindy C. Fuentes.
Patricia Aurora Pond.
Lee Shung.
Sarah Rose Markowitz.
Romeo Curtis Brooks Jr.
Megan LaFrance Wallace.
Christina Fabre Smith.
Leah Hazel Basin.
Nicole Marie Herrera.
Vanessa Valenzuela.
Peggy A. Weber.
Sylvia Mariela Ornelas Vergas.
Makai Ali.
Alondra Itzel Fabian Velasco.
Nicole Ann Johnson.
Melissa Maximo.
Marissa Veronica Gosum Russo.
Maribel Luna.
Brenda Darinara Garcia.
Jonathan Chan.
Doreen Zumo.
Jaspal Supra.
Alexander M. DeChico.
Erica Danuel Cuevas.
Cecilia Marie Blackwell.
Felipe Silva.
Leslie Vicky D. Leonardis.
Maria Jose Funes Castro.
Candace Rochelle Perkins Saunders Garcia.
Asha Trosper.
Nof Bin Said.
Amber Faith Weatherford.
Curran Thomas Walsh. Solomon Demiku Osman.
Kirsten Group.
James Kaner.
Raquel Acosto.
Rebecca Rowe.
Irma Alejandra Bello.
Lois Unjin Kim.
Carolyn Wynn Westall.
Brianna Gabriela Torres.
Robin Kwong Rowe Park.
Magdalena Segura.
Hire Joseph Yim.
Eva Lee.
Lina Gutierrez.
Angeline R. Dominguez.
Jennifer Rose Choi.
Itandewi Johanna Morales.
Samantha Matamoros Rangel.
Mark Allen Carlos Yabut.
Tammy Lynn Guerrero.
Megumi Tanaka.
Stephen Richard Cortez.
Adriana Gradia.
Malik Sarik.
Samantha J. Ibersabel.
Jonathan David Finkelstein.
Nicole Eve Gunnan.
Amy Elizabeth Henderson.
Daisy Karina Linares Torres.
Carolina Leva Barajas.
Irma Y. Valdez.
Kaylee Alana Lewis.
Dulce Chavez Bejarano.
Paola Belín Gomez Chavalin.
Adina Irene Johnson.
Lillian Chase.
Mary Michael Mohammed. Riley Phillips Zaloom. Lynn Marie Michelle Flores.
Monica Dicety Aniclato.
David Barrios Garcia.
Anais Marie Campa.
Kelly Samantha Valencia Preza.
Colleen Lindsay.
Areli Franco.
Modesta Diego Urbina.
Mario Daniel Gonzalez.
Yassi Afshar.
Roxana De La O Cortez.
Allison Kelly Schmidt.
Rebecca Oyu Busayo Adeyemo.
Shawnee Burnett.
Janet Vasquez.
Parisha Lintel Bellinger.
Pilar Ali Mendez Cruz.
Jordan Claire Raymond.
Andrew Douglas Alston.
Eddie Oswaldo Turcios.
Lourdes Alejandra Alfaro.
Melanie Margaret O'Neill.
Misty Shenbaum.
Anissa Nicole Wilson.
Jenna Michelle Hirsch.
Brittany Ann Zeeb.
Katarina Dusevich Barron.
Abigail Jane Tobin.
Ellen Kimpo.
Yulissa C. Wall.
Veronica Lorraine Mans.
Dylan J. Dalton.
Sofia Isabel Dueñas.
Jasmine Pernova.
Roberto Pineda.
Christina Alicia Gutierrez.
Ana Maria Rodriguez.
Winter Williams Adams.
Fahima Akbar.
Monica Christie Dominguez.
Rosa Linda Marquez.
Sandra Weiss.
Maria Guadalupe Garcia.
Giselle Aina Hernandez.
Ida Tran.
Karen Michelle Oliveira Martinez.
Stefania R. Coyle.
Jingting Wang.
Fanny Tamara Martinez.
Claire Hullum.
Edgar Miguel Grajeda.
Kara Francis McVeigh.
Zuri Johanna Sendejas.
Annie Elizabeth Wilson.
Franz Daniel Liebster.
Kiara Martin.
Chelsea Lutek.
You don't want Jamal? Jamal too?
Victor Adrian Frias.
Trayvon Williams.
Lynn Amber Ha.
Lana Sekali.
Wilbur Rubio Sparks.
Michelle Zuno Maldonado.
Danny A. Huerta.
Amanda Alexandria Newell.
Jennifer Montañez.
Jose Ernesto Martinez.
Jesus Peralta Narvaez.
Nidia Carolina Valle.
Emilia Giovanni Ayala.
Jasmine Carmona.
Elizabeth Elena Macias.
Matthew Alvarez.
Karen Lekhena K.
Jessica Magana.
Iwei Lian. Ying Hu.
Jennifer Araya.
Jolly Han. Looping Yu.
Katie Lee Gayton.
Shahan Lin.
Natasha Cavaluzzi.
Sydney Scarlett Shantz.
Alexia May Thorpe.
Danielle Skipper.
Joshua Reeves.
Eliza Van Leaston.
Sabrina Ekdahl.
Daniela Espino Felix.
Alan Christopher Swanson.
Janae James. Nam Kyu Ken.
Emily Claire Frizzell.
Brenda I. Romero Sanchez.
Anderson McDonald Ferber.
Desiree Marie Atkin.
Liliana Castaneda.
Ashley Nora Claire Sitzer.
Ava Danae Marinelli.
Chelsea Robin Jordan.
Isabel Marie Clay.
Natalie Elizabeth Reinholt.
Austin Jamil Bryant.
Mark Jensen Francis.
Nicholas Alexis Farthing.
Joselito L. Robles.
Tatiana Jasmine Vigil Toscano.
Claudia Marie Dumpson.
Kelsey Federmeyer Corrales.
Caitlin Faye Brundage.
Amy Hernandez.
Sandra Farias Rivas.
Clarissa Cervantes.
Ray Ingju.
Tylisha Fanique Hooker.
Shuhong Liu.
Marina Alexis Perez.
Stephanie Rojas.
Michael Abraham Kalkanis.
Laura Nicole Seafelt. Paige Harper Nebens.
Giovanni Sal Haregi.
Simone Spenner.
Ashley Mendez.
Erica Therese Trejo.
Caitlin Marie Olson.
Brianna Margaret Daper.
Amy Meyer.
Syra Espinoza.
Diane Hua.
Lena Haskell.
Eva Cheer.
Gofira Elena Mackey.
Anna Ruth Rivera Molina.
Catherine Drejos.
Christina O'Brien.
Stephanie Nicole Radulovich.
Jared Jamius.
Maggie May Guerin.
Jonathan Samuel Becker.
Eduardo Limon.
Sarah Ann Yanez.
Kimberly Ray Gonzalez.
Olivia Lucier.
Rosanna Rodriguez.
Lauren Perez.
Theodore Howland Mayer.
Catherine Bourgeois Marcart.
Kyle Mercado.
Brian Kim.
Andrea Stasi.
Michael Andrew Viescas.
Christopher Donald Ryman.
Allison Kennedy.
Michelle Naya Sykart.
Milagro Imperatriz Medrano Ventura.
Laura Marie Lampasi.
Rachel Ann Picozzi.
Shoshana Ruben Kend.
Maris Diana Hernandez Solano.
Martha Judge.
Natalie Mary Lozano.
Xiu Chen.
Nika Tan Navarro.
Malia Lee Campbell.
Adela Marina Gallegos.
Courtney Michelle Hunter.
Erica Jimenez.
Christopher Ryan Grove.
Elisa Natalia Machon.
Christopher Harold Walters.
James Ryan Jr.
Christina Selena Mendez.
Andrew Bake.
Natalie Villalobos Gomez.
Grace Pedersen.
Jessica Scarlo Rios.
Katie Sequin Vielman.
Dalia Mabilia Lorenzo. Andrew
Sarah
William Boven.
Harani.
Andrew William Boven.
Hillary Ola Henderson.
Aman Kirawala. Reham Al-Hwandi.
Chelsea Alexandra Ruffalo.
Lamia Al-Nomai.
Danielle Christine Caldwell.
Amani
Mohit
Jamal
Sharma.
Al-Gurayed.
Thomas Alexander Condris.
Noob Sami Al-Harbi.
Shane T. Kelly.
Margaret Ann Matucci.
Lorena Schubert.
Esra Abdullah Ashrahani.
Mackenzie Claire Millen.
Carmen Belen Mancha.
Joan Vanera Lee.
Michaela Catherine Cooper.
Amaris Rivas. Christy Michelle Inauen.
Joel Avelos.
Juanita Pais Martin.
Guadalupe Bobadilla.
Desiree Michelle Hernandez.
Jennifer Crystal Mendez. Dulce Soledad Haragui.
Alberto Ulysses Cabrera Soriano.
Marijo Rosalyn Ibale.
Marlene Leva.
Carolina Reyes.
Allison Nava Holstein. Erica Marie Kepsky. Pearl Judith Arvisu. Carlos Soto Castillo. David Jonathan Sered. Michael Laubacher. Julian Dario Quinones.
Milce Sarahit Peralta. Ashley Juarez. Tianan An Kong. Talia Valenzuela. Rebecca Marie Cordes.
Jacqueline Liseth Trieros. Miriam G. Vega. Christy Armijo Perez. Stacy R. Rodriguez. Kara Marie Everhart. Erica Avinia Hartnett. Consuelo A. Avalos Garcia. Cindy Correte Herrera. Sylvia Guadalupe Liva. Nayeli Judith Santiago. Jacob Blihash. Nicole C. Mann. Clarice Ariel Ramirez. Jana Marie German. LaDana Willis.
Congratulations to our master's degree candidates. Dean Dale Smith will present the candidates for degrees from the College of Business Administration.
I am honored to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration and the Master of Science in Accounting. Will the candidates please come forward?
Anthony Karimian.
William Artunian.
Yiming Wang.
Ignace Yorkonis.
Maureen Alicia Logam.
Emil Ajamin.
Darpan Kikani.
Melissa Scheidner.
Darren Draper.
Gladys Garcia.
Eric Jorgensen.
Kevin Patrick Jardine.
Edward Yang Gao.
Meher Mirza Richardson.
Danny Meister.
Ruth Vitsemo Akumbo.
Melissa Gerber.
Alyssa Van Hinta.
Michael Chivas.
Daria Ruth Linville.
Luis Armando Rivera.
Jacqueline Nicole Yarboy.
Joshua Thomas Levinsky.
Willie Chan.
Veronica Rose Harriman.
Melinda Tuik Mi Lay.
Allison Jane Patozak.
Catherine Olivia Smith Ball.
Nicole Lauren Urquidi.
Aldo Daniel.
Erica Kristen Ketz.
Brittany Jones Linares.
Ricardo Antonio Hoyas.
Daryl E. Murphy II.
Afomia Saleshi. Sean William Smith.
Ritunvar Buga.
Eden Ruben Kurzweil.
Alan Golenbeck.
Lucia Leticia Manaya.
Blake Randall Pickens.
Tammy Nicole McCoy.
Tyler Pringle.
Omar M. Almaina.
Shane Patrick Obi.
Carrie Joshua Silvers. Hector Giancarlo Cabral. Shannon Marie Lutterlow. Ryan Goldring.
Congratulations to our MBA and MSA candidates. Tina Cho will present the candidates for degrees from the Frank Seaver College of Science and Engineering.
I'm honored to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Engineering, and Master of Arts in Teaching Mathematics. Will the candidates please come forward?
Kevin Patrick McGee.
Stephen Lawrence Estelle.
Jeffrey Britt.
William Hohorst.
Elisa Lambert.
Mary Denise Flores McGilligan.
Nancy Caitlin Schroeds.
Dipti Pujar.
James Aaron Morgutia.
Joanna Fregoso.
Amin Bendigi.
Brian Marquez.
Mohammed Al-Seder.
Omar Aldawalibi.
Abdulaziz Al-Hamadi.
Brandon Garrick Wong.
Abdulrahman Al-Kandari.
Philip Colin Mack.
Noor Abdullah.
Asil Rajab.
Romel T. Fernandez. Michael Robert Christensen.
Abdul Hamid Abdal.
Adrian L. Chang.
Rawan N. Alchemies.
Douglas Samuel Sawati Moroki.
Abdullah Abu Khalif. Mohammed Al-Fadli.
Allah Saif Alam Karashi.
Sultan Al-Zabi.
Yesenia Maldonado.
Adnan Alidan.
Alejandra Murillo. Donna Bulat.
Nakatha Kanana Muiti Thomas. Nandi Iman Scott. Diana Martinez Antonio. Stephanie Michelle Lee. Colleen Laney Martha McLam. I got. Sean Robert Story. Charles Hoying. Morgan Amanda Renault. Victoria Dow. Gabriela Lopez. Teddy Oteba. Jordan Thomas Detamore. Michael Thomas Dia. Arash Laurie. Maria Isabel Lozano Corral.
Congratulations to the candidates from the Frank R. Seaver College of Science and Engineering. Dean Robin Crabtree will present the candidates for degrees from the Bellarmine College of Liberal Arts.
I'm honored to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. Will the candidates please come forward?
Daria Grigoreva.
Andre K. Enriquez.
Ulhas Bala.
Courtney Danielle Guerrero.
Catherine Frances Weiss.
Christopher William Kingsland.
Karen Elizabeth Mills.
Nina Amy Keene.
Joseph Kelly Cadiff.
Tariku Abbas Sharif.
Jensen Martin.
Stacy Teresa Gear. Charles A. Sternberg.
Angelo Navasa Antonio Jr.
Bronwyn Meredith Jones.
Johan Javier Moreno.
Thomas Justinian Kennedy.
Peter Schmidt. William Wences.
Michelle Claudia Herrera.
Jake Hook.
Jessica A. Boudet.
Stephanie Ann Coyne.
Bruno Robert D'Souza.
Kalika Rudd.
Marissa A. Munalau.
James Funston.
Marisol G. Gaitan Escobar.
Danta.
Sister Mary Youngshil Suyun.
Chidi Chaleka.
Constantina Per de Cristos.
Astrid Flogel Shetty.
John Thomas Mayfield IV.
Lisbeth Maricruz Shinique Vasquez. Sean Megan McNally. Madeleine Nadi Edmonds. Stephanie Serrano. Lydia Jane Ucciola. Mia Blanchard Laux.
Julian Chikaze Okoronanyambu. Jared Howes. Alexander Bennett Herbert. LaDonna Michelle Sebastian. Uma Nicole Uman. Uma Nicole.
Congratulations to all the candidates from the Bellarmine College of Liberal Arts. Dean Peggy Reisky will present the degrees from the School of Film and Television.
I'm honored to present the candidates for the degree of Master in Fine Arts. Will the candidates please come forward?
Jessica Mena Esteves.
Juan Carlos Gutierrez.
Kelby Avery Stanton George. Nicholas Paul Arcero. Nikki Monique Hudsons. Melissa Bloomer.
Andrew P. Joya.
Meredith Christine Garcia Painter.
Barack Azagolu.
Chikadili Tochukwu Aguna.
Malia Nicole Gabrielle.
Cassie May Hess.
Amelia. Catherine
Anton
Nicole,
Vinokurov.
Catherine Nicole Crone.
Haley Vaduras.
William Edward Kraus.
Araceli Enriqueta Aviles.
Tim Conchi.
Marianne Uru Vignad.
Joshua Mahina Louis Singer.
Carrie Claire Brooks.
Philip Al Zimmerman.
Sierra Levon Lockett.
Francisco Joaquin Hutzel.
Jordan Michael Sanford.
Giali Bao.
Amanda Marie Prentice.
Nicholas David Bergerman.
Ben Robertson McLeod.
Logan Christian Lorette.
Anand Fossard McCall.
Father Ramesh Vanan Aravanan, S.J.
Janine Pfizer.
Matthew Andrew Emery.
Shwayu Leo.
Sarah Wan Kim.
Ji Hong An.
Tiani Chen.
Ivan Renee Salinas.
Tracia Pennell.
Thomas James Halal.
Yael Yamar. Oh, sorry, Amar. Yael Amar.
Yael Amar.
Dina Berlice.
Dina Berlice.
Peng with a P Van.
Peng Van. Gaurav Pathak.
Last name Uric.
Chelsea Urick. James Carlton Norris III.
First name is Rini Thomas Rodriguez.
Rini Thomas Rodriguez.
Congratulations to the candidates from the School of Film and Television. Dean Brian Keith Alexander will present the candidates for degrees from the College of Communication and Fine Arts.
Congratulations to the candidates from the College of Communication and Fine Arts. Please join us now.
Noel Giacona.
Isabella Elena Williams.
Hannah M. Bailey.
Sarah Caroline Duncan.
Jessie Alexandra McCurdy.
Allison Wren Marks.
Angel Yang.
Catalina Thurtle.
Melissa Garcia.
Gabriela Espinosa.
Jill Levenberg. Jessica Marie Pedroza.
Alexandria Masue Richardson.
Jennifer M. Phelps.
Chow Min Wen.
Ronald Camacho.
Brianne Timmons. Leah Ariane Verzette. Michelle Plotkin. Zoe L. Brockway.
Congratulations to all of the candidates from CFA.
I now ask President Snyder to confer the degrees of our graduating class.
Thank you, sir. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the state of California and by the trustees of Loyola Marymount University, and on the recommendation of your respective faculties, I now confer on each of you who is eligible the degree for which you have been recommended, with all the rights, responsibilities, privileges pertaining to that degree. In witness thereof, you will receive from the university a diploma signed by the respective officers of the university. Congratulations, class of 2019. Enjoy!
Please stand as Zachary Birdsall leads us in the singing of LMU's alma mater, Hail the Crimson and the Blue. You may follow along with the lyrics on the last page of the program.
Hear the chapel bells implore us, turn our thoughts to LMU. Sing this song in joyful chorus, hail the crimson and the blue. Here together we develop life of the heart, the soul, the mind. Men and women, all for others, knowledge, justice intertwined. See the tower, all admire, keep her brilliant light in view. Beacon on the bluff inspire all we can and ought to do. May our mission ne'er be forgotten. Praise be the name of LMU. Hail to thee, our alma mater. Hail the crimson and the blue.
To all of you earning degrees today, please continue to develop your minds and develop your hearts. And in this way, you will always be embraced in the spirit that is Loyola Marymount University. This concludes our graduation commencement exercises. We thank you all for coming and invite all of you to attend the reception on Alumni Mall. I ask that you remain standing as Professor K.J. Peters leads the university faculty, administration, and the degree candidates in the recessional. Congratulations to you, class of 2019.